On iBrand News this hour, gunmen abduct students and staff of Science College in Niger State. WHO alerts 6 African countries on looming Ebola outbreak. Minister of Power says federal government pays 50 billion naira monthly to subsidize for electricity. Glad to have you join us on News Now. Here are the stories we're tracking at this hour. I'm Michael Nath. Unknown gunmen on Wednesday abducted some students and staff of Science College Kagara in Niger State. According to an eyewitness, a student was also killed by the bandits during the attack. The source also disclosed the attack started from the staff quarters and ended in the students' hostels. Meanwhile, the Governor of Niger State, Abubakar Sani Bello, has said his administration will not pay ransom to kidnappers. Bello, who is saddened by the unfortunate development, however, called for calm. Former Head of State General Abdulsalami Abubakar says Nigeria is at a risk of disintegration if the spate of insecurity and violence in the country is not addressed. Speaking with journalists at the Uphill residence in Mina, Niger State, Abubakar called on all Nigerians, especially the governors, to take full responsibility in managing the divergent voices and frustrations within their states that could fuel disunity, anarchy, and disintegration. General Abubakar is the chairman of the National Peace Committee, a group that came into prominence in the build-up to the 2015 election. Still on security, the Nigerian Governors Forum has pledged to help rebuild the Shasha market in Ibadan, raised down in the wake of the crisis that engulfed the market last weekend. The delegation of the NGF, led by the Governor of Kebbi State, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, made a promise after a tour of the troubled spot. Governor Bagudu, who was joined by his colleagues from Zamfara, Kano, and Niger, said the city of Ibadan was calm, contrary to the pictures circulated on social media.
On behalf of all the Nigerian Governors Forum that sent us here, we sympathize and express our commiseration to all those who have lost their lives and the property and loss of property. But Nigerians should know that the spontaneity of what has happened had happened, regrettably, but as we speak, normalcy is being returned to Ibadan. There are no bodies on the street in Ibadan. There are no people chasing each other in Ibadan as we speak. So that is commendable, and we must thank our security agencies. We have heard about how responsive, how commendable their conduct has been. Of course, there will be people living in fear still, and that is why we all need to mobilize to ensure that we contain the situation in terms of giving them comfort to come out and resume their normal activity. There are no trucks parking Nigerians to other parts of Nigeria. It's important to know that. So what we found on this visit is a city that has been traumatized by an unfortunate incident, but is working hard to rebuild. And we must encourage and commend all to continue doing so. We know that the governor is working hard. He has been supported by Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari. About 3 weeks ago, he was with Mr. President to brief him on another unfortunate incident which he dealt with effectively. So we commend his conduct. We thank the Bali and all his ward for the conduct and encouragement for peace to reign in Nigeria.
Governor Makinde, who led the governors to Shasha communities, said his government would continue to look for avenues to restore peaceful coexistence.
We have been together. I feel the pain of everybody involved here because, yes, properties were lost. We can replace properties. Yes, it may be painful. When human life is lost, There's no way for us to replace it. We cannot make life. And that is something that is irreversible. So my message is that of peace. This is for us a period to show leadership for the country at the top level, to pull together. And you can see, for those who are trying to politicize security and loss of lives, it's appalling. We have my brother, Governor of Niger State, he's PDP, I'm PDP, they're APC, but Nigeria transcends PDP, APC, and all of that. And that is why we're pulling together in one accord to find a solution that will restore peace to our state and to our country.
The screening and confirmation of the newly appointed service chiefs took place earlier today. The exercise, held at the nation's capital, Abuja, was coordinated by the House of Representatives Committee on Defense. The service chiefs were accompanied to the House by Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, who said the new service chiefs were still wearing their old rank instead of the rank of their various officers, because the government was waiting for their confirmation by the National Assembly as part of efforts to subject them to civil authority. President Muhammadu Buhari appointed the new service chiefs on January the 26th, following the resignation of the former officers. Today, Christians across the world celebrate Ash Wednesday, which heralds season of holy prayer and fasting. Ash Wednesday falls on the first day of Lent and 6 weeks of penitence before Easter. In Nigeria, Christians were cited by our correspondent with ashes placed on their forehead while participating in special church services organized to commemorate Ash Wednesday. Our correspondent spoke to some clergy who shed some lights on the essence of Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday celebration marks the beginning of the Lenten season. And the Lenten season is a season of preparation, 40 days preparation for the great celebration of the Easter celebration. So the Lenten season helps us to prepare for it, and Ash Wednesday is that which marks the beginning of that season. The Lenten season is a period in which Christians prepare themselves for the great celebration of Easter, a period in which they undergo self-mortification, which includes fasting, prayers, and almsgiving. And with these three different observances of the Lenten period, it helps them to grow spiritually and draw closer to God. The marking with ash on Ash Wednesday is a reminder to all of us that we are made from dust, and to dust we shall return.
Ash Wednesday start with the beginning of the Lenten season for 40 days. It's a day that all of us will be able to go back to God. It's a time of sober reflection, and it's a time of all of us charging our spiritual battery to return back to God, because all of us have sinned in one way or the other. When we look at our country generally, you see a lot of things happening, and that is part of our sins. There's nobody without sins. There's nobody without sin. All of us have to go back to God.
African news now. The World Health Organization, WHO, has alerted 6 African countries to watch out for potential cases of Ebola after it emerged in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Guinea. The DRC declared the emergence of Ebola on February the 7th, while Guinea declared the outbreak on Sunday. WHO's Margaret Harris told a Geneva briefing that the body has alerted 6 countries, including Sierra Leone and Liberia, and they are moving very fast to prepare for any potential infection. Between 2013 and 2016, more than 11,000 people died in the West African Ebola epidemic, which began in Guinea. Foreign news now. Many regions in the U.S. southern states are battling deadly freezing winds, ice and snowstorm. In Texas, a surge in demand for electricity has led to widespread power cuts. The National Weather Service, NWS, said more than 150 million Americans were now under winter storm warnings. Deaths have been reported in Tennessee, Texas, Kentucky, and Louisiana. The freezing storm has even reached northern and central parts of Mexico, where millions of people have experienced a second day of intermittent power cuts. And now to business news. China has now emerged the European Union's biggest trading partner. China overtaking the US in 2020 backed a wider trend as trade with most of Europe's major partners dipped due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Trade between China and the EU was worth $709 billion last year, compared with $671 billion worth of imports and exports from the US. Although China's economy cratered in the first quarter due to the pandemic, its economic recovery later in the year fueled demand for EU goods. Now, the Minister of Power, Salim Maman, says the federal government has been subsidizing electricity supply across the country to the tune of 50 billion naira monthly. He explained the move was necessitated by the incessant complaints by ordinary Nigerians over the unavoidable and periodic increase in the cost of electricity. According to Maman, the funds were provided to augment the shortfall by the power distribution companies who had failed to defray the cost of bulk electricity supplied to them by the generating companies. He, however, noted that following a minor increase in the tariff regime, the subsidy has now decreased by half, but still constituted a serious drain on the nation's economy. The federal government is set to release over 31.4 billion naira to state governments in keeping with its obligations to service its debts. The state governments will be credited with the money on Thursday, while the promissory notes are expected to be issued to them. And that's it on News Now. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms and our websites for more details. I'm Michael Nath. Thanks for watching.